Hello and good Monday morning. This is the Wrestling Bubble, and today we wanted to talk about wrestling, of course, but modern wrestling. And why is modern wrestling so stale? We feel like wrestling needs a reboot. Let's talk about it.
I feel like wrestling storylines have been stale because we've been seeing the same people getting the same push every week. Like, for example, I'm a huge fan, Rhea Ripley. We all know that she's trying to come back for her WWE Women's Championship. No offense, but how many times are we gonna keep seeing Rhea Ripley trying to go for the title and everything? Then you got like a rematch with Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. No one cares because we don't even know what they're doing with Braun Breaker at this point. He's just in with Seth Rollins for what? Then you have Seth Rollins, of course, trying to come for the belt. Ugh. How many times Seth Rollins been a champion? Too many times. That's all that matters. And then you have Becky Lynch, returns and trying to get a title shot. Who it was looking for Becky. Was you looking for Becky? I wasn't looking for Becky. Exactly.
Becky or Charlotte.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Becky
just
or
been,
Charlotte.
yeah, ain't
They
nobody was
both
looking
did the
for
same exact
exact
thing.
same exact
Charlotte comes
thing.
back at what? Not only did she come back, enter the Royal Rumble, but she came back. When did she come out? Number 28 or 29?
Yeah. Like 28, 27, something like that. It was like
A shoe in.
exactly. It's like I was hoping for Roxanne to win because she made history, for NXT wrestlers by being there for an hour and some change. But of course, they didn't let her win. They let Charlotte win. And it's like, okay, we complain that every time Charlotte comes back, she gets a belt. But when Becky came back for WrestleMania, ain't nobody complained. Not a guess. Granted, she went for the tag belt. But then the day she got a belt, which screwed Bailey when Bailey been putting in the work when Becky Wood left and when Charlotte had that knee injury. Bailey been putting in the work. Regardless, she been kind of stale and boring. I was looking forward to Bailey turning heel against Lyra, but instead we get Becky Lynch, who's like, no offense, boring as a heel in my opinion. Is this as bad as John Cena turning a heel?
You know something? Since you brought up Bailey, this ain't all just start around like Charlotte and Becky coming back. Might I remind you, Clash of the Castle, Bailey versus Piper Niven.
Ugh.
So right there, all right, leading into that pay-per-view PLE, Piper Niven finally cut a promo. And she cut a really good promo. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people turned heads and was like, wow, I didn't know Piper had that in her. I mean, she cut one of the best promos she's probably ever cut in her wrestling career.
Right.
Definitely the best promo she's ever cut in WWE. When they finally let her talk on the mic. And it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like they finally let her talk for real.
Right.
So she reminds everybody of her accolades, how she's been a champion here and there, and blah blah blah. All right, which she delivered really good. Okay, in the match, she performed really well, convincing that she should be a top female wrestler in WWE. Right? I mean, it's not like she looked like a slouch in the ring or anything like that. And right there, you had a chance to make a new star. What happened?
They made Bailey, and that's another thing. What's wrong with WWE? I mean, not WWE wrestling today. Everything is super predictable, way too predictable. Like, let's talk about a predictable match that's coming out this Saturday. You have Jey Uso versus Logan Paul.
Hold on. Before we get into that, the thing I wanted to point out with Bailey is not only did she win that match, but before she got the title for that particular reign, and the entire time she had the title, nobody cared.
Just like
She
Zelina
came
Vega.
out like they hit her music crickets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she got no reaction in any of her matches, her title defenses. I, I I don't know. I think the wrong woman won that match,
Of
and we could
course.
have got something brand spanking new. Okay, instead of the same recycled champions and push talent, like it's the same people all the time,
All the
all
time.
the time.
It's
There's nothing new.
like I was feeling Karrion Kross. You know why? Because it was something new.
It would
I
have just
was
been somebody different in the
Yeah,
mix.
and I really was interested what they was gonna do with him with this whole like trying to tap into people's dark side. But now he hasn't been on TV for what, 2 weeks since WrestleMania, and it's like how you know if the crowd's gonna really like be behind this character if you don't push them the right way or let them have a little dip into their storyline and everything because it's like I'm tired of seeing Lyra versus Becky, sorry. I'm not interested of seeing Jay versus Braun. We done seen that probably 2 times. I could really care less of Sammy teaming up with CM Punk. Who cares? It's just like it's the same old storyline, different people. Like, can we get something different? Like, I want to see Karrion Kross to see what y'all gonna do with him. I don't care about Penta fighting the Judgment Day. Who cares? I actually am interested with the whole El Grande Americano, but I also want to see Chad start getting some W's. I would like to see the Creed brothers after the New Day finally give us belts down the road become a tag team champion. I want to see what you're gonna do with them as a heel and stuff. I want to see Ivy Nile as the Intercontinental Champion. She'll be way
Honestly,
interesting than Lyra,
American Made, what they've been a group for over a year, right?
pretty much.
Okay. And they've been a heel group. Are they gonna ever be a serious group, or are they
Yeah.
always gonna be just like clowns?
Yeah, because right now it's like I like American Made a little bit when it's NXT. I like how they teamed them up with Chad Gable and they would start to look serious. But now you have what Brutus looking like a total idiot, and he was never like that NXT. He was more like the enforcer in a way. And then he had his other brother. He was like very athletic. They had something going on. Then you have Ivy now. Just let her be the mouthpiece because she's great in the mic and in the ring. And now it's like, yeah, Brutus sounding like an idiot, like he's stupid or something. And then the other brother, like he still wrestles the same, but he don't really say much. I I don't know. I Modern wrestling definitely needs a reboot. We need some fresh new faces, which makes fresh new storylines.
Well, not just that. Another reason why modern wrestling is stale and predictable is because I'm looking around and I'm wondering, where are the characters? Like
Yeah,
like you look at back in the day, you got Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, right? He's got a whole themed gimmick around who he is. His music hits. Money, 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 money. Like that's all he cares about, right? He say everybody has a price.
yes.
So his catchphrase, it's around like it's still themed around money. And he's the $1 Million Man. So he can buy off his opponents. He can pay off people to do whatever his dirty work is. Like, you know what I mean? This guy
Mhm.
had Vincent, like he had a whole butler that would fight his battles for him. You got the Undertaker. I don't really have to explain much about the Undertaker, but this guy, he's the walking undead or whatever, and he hits his opponents with his finisher called the Tombstone. He comes out, he's got an urn with Paul Bearer, his manager. He's got this real dark theme music. When you hear that bell tone, like you already know who's coming out. He walks to the ring really slow, just like to let his opponents build up a little fear, and it's captivating.
Mhm.
I mean, what happened to the characters? And also, those same characters had unique move sets tailored specifically for them. You didn't see a bunch of other people hitting the tombstone. You didn't have people putting opponents in the $1 Million Dream, which is what $1 Million Man's finisher was. You had finishers specific to the characters. Just like Shawn Michaels had Sweet Chin Music, aka the Super Kick. Okay?
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels in the WWE, he was supposed to be the only person doing the Super Kick, which is why it was special, which is why it could end a match. Now everybody's using a super kick like a drop kick, like a body slam.
Yeah, it's
The super kick is nothing but a clothesline at this point.
It's watered down.
Matter of fact, on SmackDown, Jacob Fatu and Tiffany Stratton both hit the prettiest moonsault ever. They both have the exact same finisher. Why? Why am I supposed to care if Tiffany hits the prettiest moonsault ever if we just saw Jacob Fatu hit that same move 2 matches earlier? It loses its impact. It loses its uniqueness, its likeness to the character or wrestler in this case that is supposed to be a master of that move. I mean, the Rock Bottom, tailored to the Rock. I mean, the name is the Rock Bottom. Okay? The People's Elbow. Who else was hitting the People's Elbow? Nobody. And you can go on how, like, the wrestler's specific gimmick or character had a whole moveset, theme music, everything was specific to that character, which made for better storytelling because you can zero in on the things that make up that character and pit them against somebody else with a whole different character. And it's like, what would this character do in a situation with this particular character? And then you just come up with different stories for those two characters. And then when you end up with a situation where you could throw one more character in the mix, well, now you have a completely different dynamic.
Well, speaking of actually completely different dynamic too, getting off topic, if anyone watched LFG, we about to have 2 new, hopefully better characters, Tyra Steele and Gasper Troy. They won the LFG. So we heard really great stuff. Watching a little bit. Let's start with Tyra Steele. She's a Olympic gold medalist.
Olympian.
Yes, really great in the ring, great in the promo. And then Gasper never really had any wrestling. He's more of a football player. And he won. He stood out. Seeing some of his matches, he's a dominant person. He also, you could tell he watched a lot of the older wrestling, like he inspired by Bray Wyatt, Undertaker, and those great characters. So we're looking forward to see. Hopefully, they bring some light into NXT coming soon because we need some new, fresh faces. Like you were saying, like a lot of stuff is not looking special anymore. You have so many people hitting the same finisher, different names. You have same storyline, different people. It's to the point it's just becoming overwhelming for a lot of fans. You're hearing people going to all these cities, and a lot of cities are like, for example, Ray Phoenix. When Ray Phoenix first debuted, he had a lot of fans interested in him. Now it's just like his interest is coming across like Zelina Vega. Not enough crowd reaction.
Yeah, and imagine that. She's your United States Women's Champion.
I really can't wait till they drop the belt from her. It's like, are they trying to refresh Chelsea Green so she can win it back again? Because they're still showing her, but it's like now she's just taking L. She got pinned from Alexa Bliss twice. And remind you, Alexa Bliss haven't been on TV for 2 years.
Yeah, but she got the Charlotte and the Becky treatment where she just gets put on top and we just have to accept it. No creativity whatsoever. She's a recognized name, so of course she has to be back on top. Okay, so I don't have a reason to care. I don't know. It's just it's too predictable because the same people are always gonna win or always gonna get the push or they're gonna get the title for whatever reason other than they're a name. It'd just be nice to see. It'd be nice to see characters. It would be nice to see a different rotation of stars get elevated and not just like one at a time. Like, what's wrong with like 4 to 5 people having like a career surgence or the WWE machine getting behind them? Because right now I'm talking about WWE particularly, but where you get just multiple people, whether it be tag teams or whether it be individuals, whatever, like, because we need to spice it up. And for me, it starts with the art of wrestling, like the psychology of wrestling, the selling of moves, putting in character work so that wrestler A is nothing like wrestler B or wrestler C, and so on. Like, we need some diversity, honestly. I don't know. It's just like, why, like when I watch Raw and I watch SmackDown, right? They should feel like two different shows. They look like two different shows because one's blue and one's red themed, right? But when I watch it, it literally looks like exactly what I saw on Raw. Yeah, there's different stories or whatever, but for the most part, it's like everybody's a bunch of clones of each other. I don't know. Like,
When you
I
talk
need
about
more.
seeing the same thing, that's how I feel about AEW too. I feel like because they'll come on
Oh,
once
don't
a
even
week.
get me started with AEW.
Yeah,
Every
it's
match has
like
got to be 15 to 20 minutes
and
long.
every match is the same, same old, same old, same old. I don't care. I can get canceled for that. I don't care what Will Ospreay said. AEW has not improved. They have gotten down. The production sucks. For goodness sake, what's the biggest talk right now? How Black Adam just like pretty much started 30 minutes early, and then TK
Well,
won.
they stopped Dynamite
My
or Collision after
30.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
So that ruined Collision for about 300,000 people that day. And Black Adam started playing in its place. So
Yeah. And it's like, really, were we really missing like those extra 30 minutes? Nope. 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 No. Collision. What's the most viewers Collision has? 300,000? 100,000? They're not doing
no, I think
anything.
they're still around 300,000.
My point. They ain't missing nothing. Because it's like, it's the same old, same old. What you get on Wednesday, you're going to get the same thing next week. And you're going to get it on Collision. Nothing hasn't changed. It's like nobody's selling. There's no story. The only story we have so far, somewhat, is Jamie Hayter, Mercedes Monet, and now you have Mina and MJF with the Hurt Syndicate. Then you have Mina possibly having a storyline with Tony Storm, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, here's the thing. You do have a number of stories, but the problem is, no matter who's in those stories, I the only exception I would give is like MJF, because he wrestles traditional style, and then he still mixes in some indie stuff like the jumping tombstone from this second turnbuckle that never ends a match.
Right.
Like, come on, man. But all of the matches are gonna be the same.
Every last one of them.
15, 20. If it's on a PLE, 20-minute match guaranteed.
25.
Well, yeah, I mean that's Osprey, Kenny, and
Young
all of
Bucks,
them.
yeah.
They always got to have at least 25 minutes on a PLE or pay-per-view. But just look at AEW. Like, I get that they want to be sports based,
Right.
right? So that means that you got to have, I guess, a longer match so that it comes across as if it's more competitive, right? But what you're doing is you're burying every single move that you're doing in that match.
And then we
Because,
see
like,
the same thing the next week.
yeah, I mean, why does it have to take a superplex from the top rope, followed by a frog splash or a 450, followed by a knee to the face, followed by so on and so forth, like, and then to only get a 2 count?
Right.
So none of that had any effect on this person whatsoever, because I don't know if you remember, but about 10 minutes ago, after hitting your opponent with 50 other moves, you still only got a 2 count. This is awesome. No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not.
This is depressing.
Exactly.
You're burying everything you're doing, and you don't even realize it.
It's like they don't really appreciate wrestling. Like back in the day, Attitude Era, all the matches left probably in the most 10 minutes, but it was a great build. It was a build to their finisher or a signature, and it will end the match right then and there. You really wouldn't know who was going to win the match because it would draw the audience attention. Like, they was all glued into it, like, oh my gosh. So, like, that's why people talk about a TLC match from SmackDown 2 weeks ago. because you had DIY, you had Motor City Machine Gun, you had Street Profits. There was times I thought the Street Profits was going to lose the title.
Yeah.
Because DIY was like killing it. And then you have Motor City Machine Gun had put in their best performance since they've been in WWE, to the point the crowd at the time was actually somewhat behind them. But now it's like too predictable. Like, look at Fraxio. Love the tag team, but you only wrestle 4 times? You already have a title shot? Like, what are we doing here? It's like, okay, let's say if they do win, now what? Is the Motor City Machine Guns going to turn heel? Because right now they're not looking like it, but they have been nice to the Fraxio, so we'll see what happens there. But it's like, I know I am not a big AEW fan. They have some good, they have some down, but right now their most down is their matches. All their matches way too long for me. You have the same old moves, especially I'm not a big fan of Will Ospreay's matches. He don't really sell anything. It's just flip here, flip there, cold cutter here. Okay, he's looking for the wow and not really for the build.
You know, AEW is in a position where if they change the way their production looks, okay, they change their entire presentation. Go back to selling wrestling moves. Cut a lot of these matches in half. The length of time these matches have, cut them in half at
Use them
least.
for promos or something.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, give time for promos and character development, because those what they view as little things, I guess, like that would do a lot more for AEW than 20-minute bangers. And let me let you in on a little secret. AEW, they stopped being bangers years ago, okay? Because when you guys first started AEW, it was fresh to a lot of us, right? We weren't used to seeing the 15, 20-minute, 1,000 kickouts or whatever, unless I guess we were watching like PWG or New Japan or Ring of Honor, which I didn't watch any of that stuff, okay? Because my favorite wrestlers weren't there, and I never heard of any of those guys. But that was me. We've come a long way where it's easy to access and find all those things now. But present day, AEW could easily be a little bit better if they just focused on some of the smaller things that are actually big things, like entrances. Okay, every time a wrestler comes out in AEW, if it's not MJF, if it's not the Hurt Syndicate, I'd even say Julia Hart, they just like power walk to the ring. They might as well just run, do a dead sprint as soon as their music's hit, because they don't even take the time to sell themselves, because they I think it's because they know that there's no character there. When you have character, for example, Lyra Valkyria, at least she's trying, like the bird lady, right? Okay, so she comes out with the feathers and everything. She can at least give you a little bit more in her entrance, just because there's that little bit of character that she has. So she can use that for an entrance. She can name some of her moves based on character, right?
Right.
So you see how, like, just something as small as having an influenced character in wrestling, like, can complement other things, like your entrance, like your song, your finisher, your moves, your character traits. As far as, like, if you're a dead man walking like the Undertaker, you're probably gonna be more of a heel, just off rip. If you're The Rock, this super cool jock, arrogant, full of himself, whatever, he was the corporate champion, etc., he tends to be heel. He's heelish, but he's kind of cool at the same time. So it's like he can get away with a lot more stuff that like a normal babyface couldn't, or a normal heel couldn't, without losing the audience. But it's just simple things like that if AEW, focused on or added some of those things, it would come across a little bit better, and production wise, if they improve their production, they would come across as professional, because it always looks like amateur hour. It always looks like Wish WWE, not even WWE. They look more like TNA.
Hey now, TNA been putting on some decent matches, and they have some decent storylines now
Yeah.
since they partnered with WWE lately.
Thing is, nobody has a character in wrestling that is making casual viewers pay attention.
Now, because a lot of these characters, majority of them is like repeats.
Most of them don't have characters.
Mhm.
They're just Johnny Gargano,
Johnny
Tommaso
wrestling.
Ciampa, Berto, Carlito. No. You know why Carlito stands out? Because his character's he's always had character. He's that guy. Hey, be cool,
Yeah, he's
right?
like,
And then he
"I'm
bites the
cool."
apple,
Yeah, right,
spits it
right.
at his opponent. Like, boom, simple stuff like that. Look at R-Truth.
I'll even say Dirty Dom.
Exactly, Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom has purpose. He has a character. I mean, he's got a lot to work with, which is why he gets reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he was with Rey Mysterio? Because a lot of people be like, well, Rey's his dad.
Right,
Okay, so when
right.
he was with Rey Mysterio, he wasn't getting reactions like that.
No.
He was very stale, basic, boring.
Him betraying his dad and actually separating himself from his father was the best idea whoever came up with to ever do. Yes, he got some booze for probably 2 years, but now he's like getting a lot of the crowd. He haven't changed his character to a baby face, which is great. Keep it like that. But now a lot of the crowd is behind him because one, he's good in the mic, he's good in the ring. Like, what more can you ask for?
He's becoming a tweener.
Yeah,
He's the heel that you love to hate.
exactly.
And
And
they'll
I
cheer
love
him
it.
from time to time, just like they did at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like he got a huge reaction. That's why I'm glad like he didn't lose to Penta. And honestly, he should be a dominant intercontinental champion like Gunther. Not saying like a long champion like Gunther, but he actually is making me like the belt again. Because when Braun Breaker, as great as a wrestler he is, he was stale. They didn't know what to do with it. They just put the belt on him just because he had a crowd behind him. That's my biggest pet peeve. If you're gonna put a belt on somebody, at least have a story behind it. Look at Tiffany Stratton, stale. Zelina Vega, stale. You know, who else we got? Jey Uso, stuck. You know, it's like you're just putting the belt on him just because the crowd says something. It's to the point I can't wait till all three of them lose the belt.
Yeah. Speaking of Braun Breaker, okay, and making new stars and catapulting people to the top of the card, main eventers, right? Braun Breaker comes in WWE. Everybody can see it. This guy has the it factor. He brings a whole new intensity, blah, 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 right? Fast forward. You have Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Tell me what happened with that.
That was a good match.
Yeah,
I
guess
like
what
it.
happened though? He lost.
Yeah, that's the crazy
Killed
part.
all of his aura, right?
And
then.
remind you, he beat Gunther. You know, he beat a decent amount of top star, and then you make him lose to a mid-card Sami Zayn.
That would have been perfect for Braun Breaker to win that match.
It's like
That would have been a star-making moment right there. As in, he is the next big thing.
right.
Since Brock Lesnar, right? Like, since somebody like that. We could, like, you really could have made Braun Breaker
That's
special.
why I'm confused. I like, why is he with Seth Rollins? He really didn't need, because he could talk, he could wrestle.
Didn't need him.
He
I
really
remember when he
didn't.
was cutting promos backstage because for whatever reason they wouldn't let him come to the ring and cut promos.
Right.
And then that's when he would actually be on TV. But he was cutting promos basically saying like he was putting the locker room on notice, letting them know ain't a man alive can take this belt off me, blah blah blah, right? Only for Sami Zayn to come along.
It's
and
saying
take
when
it off of
Sammy
him.
beat Gunther.
Didn't matter of fact, didn't Jey Uso beat Braun Breaker as well?
The man that only has 4 moves in the ring.
Like-
My point exactly.
Like, why? What was the reason? What was the reason?
It's because Jay has
Braun
fans.
should be further along than this little group that he's in with Seth Rollins, okay? I just don't get it. Like, do you want people to be entertained or nah? I mean, you got the nerve to ask people to pay these ridiculous amounts of money for ticket prices in the thousands, okay? And just to keep giving us this mediocre, just like low effort wrestling shows. Like, we're just asking for you guys to do better. It doesn't take much to entertain.
No,
It really does not
no.
take much to entertain, and it doesn't take much to be creative. Okay, I get it. There's a head of creative, and then there's a few people in the room that help with that. But you know what?
Mhm.
There's a lot of people, wrestlers, that have a mind of their own. They have their own ideas. They have an idea of how they want their character portrayed, etc. And just recently, from that documentary that Karrion Kross was a part of, right?
Mhm.
I mean, he pretty much said it. Scarlett comes up with these great ideas. I come up with some ideas. We approach the people in the back,
You know
tell them
what's
about the a story that they'd like to do or whatever, and they say,
right?
"Yo, that's real good. That's real good." But they basically saving stuff like that for the top guys in the
Yeah, and to
company,
me, it's like not everyone at the top deserve those type of storylines, anyways. You know
especially when the story came from somebody that it's actually suited for.
exactly. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like everyone was like, for example, that didn't make sense. People was complaining about the whole Charlotte and Tiffany storyline was trash. You know why? Because the original storyline was that they was supposed to be coming after Charlotte and something crazy like that. And then Charlotte comes and like try to take the belt off of Nia, and then Tiffany cashed in on Charlotte. It was something like that, but Charlotte had to come in later through the year because of her knee injury. But it's like even when Charlotte came back, the crowd still wasn't feeling her to the point they boo her out of SmackDown that she left. And that wasn't even supposed to happen. It's just they didn't want to hear from her. Because you know why? They're over Charlotte, just like they're over Becky. Yes, Becky got a little tear reaction, but now it's like a lot of the fans are remembering why they was happy she was gone. She's stale. No big time Bex, please. We're done seeing her. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So if that's not enough to at least point out that there are some major issues with modern wrestling that needs to be resolved, and I think just the overall approach to wrestling needs a reset. Can we bring back selling? Can we bring back characters? Can we make wrestling moves, finishing moves matter again and specific to certain wrestlers? I don't need to see a super kick every match, and I damn sure don't need to see 4 in one match. Okay? I don't need to see a tope suicida from every wrestler, no matter what size they are.
And
Okay?
suicide dives.
When Keith Lee used to dive outside or something like that, it was unique. He was a big guy that could do it,
Huge.
etc. Now every big guy's trying to do it.
Oh my god. I
Hello, it's no longer
cringe.
special at that point.
Oh my gosh, I cringe when I see them jump because
And
it's
you know
like,
what? If
ugh.
you're a wrestler that can't hit a simple suicide dive, tope suicida, maybe you shouldn't do it. I you know how many wrestlers have like tried to jump through the ropes and then their feet catch it like almost every time and it just looks like they're about to face plant? Like, maybe you should not be doing those moves, okay? There's a reason why the lucha wrestlers, the luchadors, they're able to do a lot of those moves because they've literally practiced, and it's just like a simple dive outside of the ring for most of them. It's just like a drop toe hold for a lot of these modern wrestlers. So yeah, I mean it tends to look better when they do it anyways. And if maybe some of these wrestlers stop trying to do everything just to get a pop from the crowd, a cheap pop, right?
Like when they be like,
especially when
"Isn't
they
it great
know,
to be in whatever
yeah,
city?"
it's a great day to be, yeah, yeah. But like when you know there's certain moves that that look like they could finish a match, but you know in that match that move is not finishing the match, and then you probably still got like another 5 minutes to go in that match. What was the point of doing it? Somebody else could have used that for a finish in a match and made that special. Yeah, but you guys get the point. That's gonna do it for this video. We'd love to know how you guys feel about modern wrestling. Is it stale? Is it boring? Do we need characters? Do we care about characters? Are the matches too damn long? Chime down below in the comment section. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you stay up to date with all the videos and that will be dropping, and we go live now. So be on the lookout for that Monday Night Raw review coming later tonight, and we'll catch you in the next one.